Happy 2021 to all my favorite subscribers. How are y'all doing? Happy New Year. Welcome to Starling on Cinemas. That is Cinemas with an S. And today, what was intended to be the last Wednesday, way back Wednesday review of 2021, will now be the first one of this year, but will be the last one on the Karate Kid series. Of course, I'm referring to my review on the Karate Kid 2010, starring Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. Before I begin, if you are new to this channel, don't forget to follow me on IG, subscribe on this channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to follow me on IG, like, share, leave a comment on whatever good or bad you have to say about the Karate Kid from 2010. And most importantly, watch. When his mother's career results in the move to China, 12-year-old Dre Parker, played by Jaden Smith, finds that he is a stranger in a strange land. Though he knows a little bit of karate, some karate, his fighting skills are no match for Cheng, the school bully. Dre finds a friend in Mr. Han, played by the legendary Jackie Chan, a maintenance man who is also a martial arts master. Mr. Han teaches Dre all about Kung Fu in the hope that Dre will be able to face down Cheng and perhaps win the heart of a pretty classmate named Mei Ying. Now, I felt very confident in writing this review because 2010's Karate Kid is one of the millions of childhood movies that I have repeatedly watched when I was young. Like, everywhere I could find the Karate Kid, I just wanted to put it on and watch it because it was just so enjoyable, not knowing that it was a reboot. But 2010's Karate Kid is a straight off paper definition of what a definitive remake to an original film looks like. I often say that nothing will ever prevail over originality. I've never said it on this channel, but I've said this in my head. I was like, man, it seems like these original films that people are rebooting out of will never be toppled or will never be won over. What I'm trying to say is, how do I phrase this? That a remake is never better than the original. It's always like, if you were to make a remake of Jaws, I'm sure you would still love the original Jaws more, right? So I often say that nothing will ever prevail over originality, but this is one of the many reboots that does so. The game of compare and contrast is kind of hard to play with this one because it does so many things that are different while paying subtle nods to the 80s franchise that I would have never guessed, that you would have never guessed, and I would have never guessed if you had only seen this one without seeing the Ralph Macchio films. Instead of having another kid from New Jersey move to California, we have a variant Karate Kid. Variant is just going to be a term I use from now on when referring to certain characters in a reboot of a different franchise because it's become very prominent in this fandom, in the fandom world. So a variant Karate Kid named Dre Parker from Detroit moves to China, a land that he is all but familiar with. And the unfamiliarity in adaptation is part of what makes Dre's character arc in this movie. And this makes me appreciate more that they went with a black kid instead of a white kid, seeing how, at that age, we tend to be so uninterested in other cultures outside of our own. I'm talking about young black kids. Throughout his journey, we see Dre adjust to the several things like the living spaces, the school, his friends, and the wisdom and discipline and training he gains from Mr. Han. Some that are reminiscent of the 80s movies like Wax On, Wax Off. Mr. Han might not be as iconic or cool as Mr. Miyagi or hilarious as Mr. Miyagi, let's be honest, this time around. But to see this version get played by the legendary Jackie Chan is perfect. The way that Jaden Smith's Dre plays off of Jackie Chan's Mr. Han comes off as youthful and naive, but it creates a sense of realism in the relationship, as with Macchio's version, that comes off as, well, macho and certain of what he was doing. The 2010 take on Cobra Kai, a variant of Cobra Kai, I don't know what they call this dojo, is a bit aggressive, extreme, and untamed. It is a lot more dangerous when the person teaching Kung Fu is a native without discipline and self-control. The only thing that really hit with the original Karate Kid, I've said this a bunch of times, was the logic behind the karate and what its purpose was, is value. Even if the karate itself in those movies were not even convincing or fun to watch. Sure, the remake might show a stark contrast in this arena with a lot of epic and well choreographed fights through Kung Fu, but lacking the discerning value of this specific form of martial arts. is a stark contrast to the original. A few other ways this movie throws subtle nods to the original is the Karate Kid physically being in China, Karate Kid Part 2, the jacket on, wax on, wax off, the Karate Kid, the original, the crane kick, while Jaden Smith doesn't do the actual crane kick, he makes the potential energy pose, and the love interest being from China. Overall, Jaden Smith's Karate Kid does not just work as a rock solid reboot, but a well rounded sports drama. Because you have a black kid from Detroit moving into China that he is all but interested in, everything but interested in, a martial arts master a maintenance man that knows martial arts, but not to the intention of what he's trying to go for. A mother that loves China, but he doesn't, and then a girl that he's into that is culturally different from he is. So the chances of him being in a relationship with her are very slim because he's black and she's Chinese. And then of course the bullies. The bullies make him so desperate into wanting to fight that he wants to defend himself, feel comfortable in this land, that these guys picking on him and beating him up make him feel more like an outsider than just actually being in China and not knowing his way around. And that sort of thing. Little aspects like that is what makes this reboot a well-rounded sports drama. Rotten Tomatoes gives The Karate Kid from 2010 a 66%, still fresh. Even if The Karate Kid from 2010 does not capture the artful meaning from 84, it is such a well-rounded remake all throughout, from the spectacle of the fight choreography and the relationships that Dre has with the rest of the characters. The Master Li, the bullies, Mei Ying, Mr. Han, his mother, and a few others in between. So it deserves 8.5 SOS out of 10. And another thing I want to point out, his relationship as a young black kid, his relationship with with Mr. Han shapes him more into being mentally disciplined, physically disciplined, and it shapes him better. Like, this journey of development feels a lot more satisfying with him being black and with him going to China, a land that he is not all that interested in, but slowly becoming comfortable in it as the days go by and as the lessons he gains through Mr. Han. So a B, it deserves The Karate Kid 2010 with Jaden Smith, Jackie Chan, 8.5 out of 10. But this, like I said at the beginning of the video, it was intended to be the last review of 2021. That didn't happen, but here I am now. I just gave you the review, and I hope you enjoyed it. And with this being my first week of school, I just wanted to let this week go by. This will be the only review you see this week. I just wanted to let this week go by so I can see how school is going to be. But I will be watching and recording. Well, I'll be watching and typing my review for the beginning of my 2 upcoming playlists on Tuesday and Wednesday during this school semester. You will only be seeing 2 videos a week from 2 playlists that I've been waiting to start. I've been waiting to binge watch and review these movies. But you will see come Tuesday and come Wednesday, they will both be surprises. And I'm very excited to what I have to offer about each of these movies in these playlists and in these sagas. So thank you for your time that you have been watching the Karate Kid review. And I'll see you guys next time.